That's ridiculous. We have to at least try to negotiate.
You know his demands. There's no basis for negotiation.
He has not seen what we have seen. The writings, the memories of the Prophet. If he just realized...
Taranor Korek would rather throw away his comb that had been a mistake. Believe me, I know him.
I am sure the Grand Master has a solution ready. After all, he was the one who dismissed Korek's attempts to negotiate so swiftly.
First we wait for the group's return, then we will see.
But it's been a week.
My dams, my sirs.
Shit. What took you so long? And where is Constantine?
That's a long story.
And those were his final words? I can't believe it.
Simply another victim of the High Ones. If we do not activate the beacon soon, he won't be the last.
Oh, right. The beacon. If it's activated, we'll simply glow the red madness away, won't we? Or maybe we could, for once in all this, do something that actually makes sense, and focus our resources on finding an alchemistical or thaumaturgical solution to this problem, rather than trusting in a pile of scrap metal.
Oh, by the Prophet's ass, won't you just shut up for a minute? All day long you do nothing but babble, getting on our nerves, and nothing you ever say gets us any closer to a fucking solution. So why don't you just shove off to one of the bathhouses? Go torture the washerwomen with your never-ending lamentations. That would be helpful for a change.
You will take that back.
Will I? Come here and make me. I'd be delighted.
Blasphemy!
Guard your
This
tongue,
is blasphemy!
wild mage, or...
Or what? Are you gonna kill me? That's what you do best, you and your fucking order.
Silence! You are angry, Lishari Pegast, and I understand why. But in the moment you let that anger destroy this alliance, Firespark's sacrifice will have been in vain. Is that what you want? Is that what you want?
No. No, it isn't.
Good. I am tired of this endless bickering. We have a responsibility, and we will fulfill it.
Well said, Aranthio. And how exactly do you think we are going to do that? Without the sources, the beacon is as worthless as a heap of rusty iron.
The chroniclers are on it, and they will find the answer. Novice, tell Commander Aaron to join us. We need to plan the defense of the land. You, Prophet, will come to me as soon as you have recovered. Now, let us get to work.
Please, Tilor, Jorik is right. A war with Nerim? This is madness.
I know that it is going to be tough, but we have no choice. The beacon is all that we have.
Yes, the beacon, the beacon, the beacon! We don't even know what this thing does, let alone if it will work. If you start a war only because of that damn machine, it means putting the lives of thousands at risk, only because of some vague idea. This is ludicrous, Tila. It's entirely irrational. The man I knew would never have acted like this.
Yes, because that man is dead. I've made decisions driven by fear and selfishness before, and they were always wrong. I will not let that happen again. Seriously, Natara, stop acting as if this were about reason. You're just afraid of making sacrifices for what you believe in. You always were.
Sacrifices? This is about your damn pride, Tilor. Nothing else.
The sun be praised you've made it. Constantine. He didn't deserve this. It's just not fair. Someone is gonna pay for it. I'll see to that. I I have to talk to you as soon as possible. It's about the seal in that letter we found on the mercenaries in Old Rashengrad. I believe I'm onto something. Their client is from Enderal. From Ark, to be more precise. Let's not talk here, though. Meet me in the Dancing Nomad. I'll be in the first room upstairs, right at the end of the staircase. And hurry. Well, why do you think? Come to the Dancing Nomad after you've spoken with Oranthiel. See you there. Huh? Question of the century. Honestly, I don't know. We might as well be chasing a phantasm. But at this point, it seems to me that the beacon is some kind of channeling device. Sounds confusing, I know, but it reacts very strongly to any magically charged object. But as to how this will serve us against the High Ones, that remains to be seen. Now look at that, someone who's actually interested in us as people, rather than in our knowledge about the Pyreans. But it's your lucky day. I really wouldn't mind a good talk right now. Hold on a second. Arizalian Brandy, vintage 8214. What do you say? A glass and a good talk? There are a couple of things I wanted to ask you anyway. All right then. When I hear you say that, I don't regret for a second that I never came back to Ostian, even though I've thought about it from time to time. Wow, finally, someone who says it up front. Yeah, I've got some Scarag blood in me, though comparably little in regards to how much it shows. My grandfather, he used to serve in the South Realms Marines, and one day they captured a ship of Scarag raiders, some of them women. Stories say he fell in love with one of them, and yeah, you can connect the dots. But to answer your original question, yes, I'm from Ostian. Though we fled the city around 10 years ago. The right choice, as I probably don't need to tell you. The temple was always a bunch of fanatical fuckheads, but that bastard High Priest Janus gave the word butcher an entirely new meaning. I know, and nah, I hardly know anything about her. Only that they were raiders and that she fled about 2 years after giving birth to me. Poor Grandpa. You should have seen how people reacted to the way I looked. Even as a kid, they always looked at me and my almond-shaped eyes as if they were expecting me to pull out a skull fetish any second and start putting curses on anyone in the vicinity. True words. Warriors of the Creator. War against the infidels. The Creator's children don't even sugarcoat how radical their faith is anymore. And still, so many people join their ranks. It's fucking insane. But then again, I guess that's religion for you. Don't think for yourself anymore. Let someone else do it for you. At least it was for my brother. I had. He was about 15 years older than me, and was always a troubled child. Rakul. That was his name. You know, my family was very wealthy before we fled. Drapers for generations. The best in Ostian. I suppose that's why my father expected so much from Rakul, since I, as a woman, wouldn't have been allowed to take over the business when my father would have retired. But Rakul, he just wasn't made out for it, you know? He was shy and introverted, and never had a hand for money. I can't remember how often Father told him that he was a disgrace to the family. You can call it that, yes. Looking back, I think the temple only gave him what Father wouldn't. A perspective. The feeling of being needed. He spent almost all of his time in the temple after his conversion, and knew the entire Rania, their holy scripture, by heart. Well, in one day, he announced that simply attending the masses wasn't enough anymore. He would join the temple's warriors. Damn right. That's what these bastards do. They exploit the vulnerability of people like him and indoctrinate them with their fucking bullshit. And once that's done, they send them to fight for their holy causes. In other words, their own interests, like pawns on a chessboard. And if they die, then they call it a fucking honor. I'm sorry, my dame. Your youngest son just died. But don't worry, he's in a better place now, eating grapes and drinking honey. What solace, isn't it? Now, do you have any other neglected children for us? We're running short on material. Damn it, I hate those bastards. I just hate them so much. He was slaughtered, hacked into pieces by Chancellor Baratheon's cavalry. That was before the peace treaty. I'd be surprised if they taught him what end of a lance to stab with before they sent him into the field. But, well, I guess that answers the question you asked me up in the temple, doesn't it? I was sick of seeing people using religion for their own ends. Creator, Lightborn, the Great Spirit. Same shit, different name. And you know what? No matter how much chaos the death of the gods caused, I don't regret being a part of it, not in the least. It was the right thing to do. Anyway, I'd say we call it quits for now, okay? It was good talking to you, but I'm dying for a nap. Take care.
Malthus blessings, monsieur. Are you looking for something to read?
Hello.
Yes, the one the Butcher of Ark wrote himself. I assume the thieves were hoping it contained the forbidden passage about Jael Tannerson's initiation ritual, but as far as I know, not even the original has it. Well, long story short, you're treading on dangerous ground here. If it's a story you want, I recommend you get yourself something else to read.
What has this world come to?
Yes?
Hello.
Midnight. Between cobblestone and excretion. Between darkness.
Oh, there you are. Did you find it?
But be careful, okay? Magic Dragon will have us flayed alive if we lose it.
I will, don't worry. Did you hear the news? This guy, who's been wandering around the temple most recently? Lucar told me the Grandmaster believes he could help find a cure for this red madness.
The Red Madness? You mean...
Magister Yarrow, yes.
Why, Malthus, did you really need to remind me of that?
Well, it doesn't help to just close our eyes and pretend nothing ever happened. Even the Arcanists say this is not an ordinary disease. But still, I think they're holding back. They never trust us novices with the full truth, you know. I guess we're not as good as this Outlander or Keeper of Sakash.
Probably not. Anyway, take care of that tome, alright?
I will. Walk west, brother.
A machine that can banish these high ones. Mysteries of this world are endless, aren't they? The Prodigy, huh? Apparently we owe you for the shards of this sigil stone. I didn't think I would ever say this, but thank you.
Irrelevant. This madman, Koarek. He has completely reshuffled the cards. Now we not only have to deal with the High Ones, but also with him and his fanatics. However, there's also good news. You have probably seen it already. Physically, yes. And we also know how it works now, and how it can put an end to the cycle. It is easier than we thought. The beacon was constructed for one thing, to destroy the High Ones. Once reconstructed, infused with energy and activated, lit, as the Pyreans called it, it can banish the High Ones from this plane of existence. Immaterial, indeed. Essentially, they can be compared to the cold or to shadows. Omnipresent elements, yet we cannot touch them. Energy, if you will. However, there is a counterpart to each energy. Cold and fire, shadow and light, the High Ones and the beacon. Yes. Imagine a torch driving away the darkness in the moment it is ignited. This is what the beacon can do, except that the banishing will be permanent. Yes, as I said, it needs to be infused with energy before it can be lit. I take it you have noticed the 3 sockets on its base. They are what it draws its power from. Once they are filled, the beacon can be ignited and the High Ones will be undone, once and for all. At least, if the old writings are true. The only thing left for us to find out is what these energy sources are. But we are close. Give the Arcanists some more time and I will let you know if there's any news. In the meantime, get equipped accordingly. Some of the Nerimes have landed already, and outbreaks of the Red Madness become more and more frequent as we speak. Well, it's only fair to tell you. You've always been honest to me, so I will do the same. Have you ever heard of the Night of the Thousand Fires? Between 8,192 and 8,202, there was an underground movement in Kira called the Red Half Moon. They were brought into being by a group of intellectuals and philosophers who, under all the freedom of thought Saldrine granted them, started questioning the reign of the Golden Queen, and thus the Lightborn themselves. Saldrine saw himself as the god of knowledge, and accordingly he reigned his country. In Kira, no opinion is forbidden, which is why it is home to countless magic schools and universities, where people do nothing but discuss the reason for being all day long. An appealing thought if you hear it for the first time, but a cunning people isn't easy to reign. There have been more revolts and riots in Kira than bones in a graveyard, and the Red Half Moon was the worst of them. Correct, just as my son did. But other than him, they fought like cowards. Terror, dust crystals planted in the marketplaces, and assassinations, you name it. If they killed innocents, they blamed the Golden Queen. And if they killed her soldiers, they celebrated themselves as liberators. However, they never succeeded in putting her down, and neither did she in destroying them, which is why the court turned to the Lightborn for help, a division of the Holy Order led by me, a young keeper of barely 30 winters. None to be taken seriously. You know, not everywhere is the Order as present as here on Enderal, or as it once was on Narim. In Kira, we were ridiculed. I saw the Kiranian keepers who served the Golden Queen. A bunch of decadent gluttons who had dedicated themselves to the court's banquets rather than to the will of the gods. They were pathetic. A moon after our arrival, we received an anonymous tip on where one of the Half Moon's bases was supposed to be located, in a small coastal village. As we entered it, we were greeted by the township's elders, and the villagers themselves had gathered behind them. You should have seen how they stared at us, as if we were plunderers. I should have seen by then that something was wrong. Yes, but if there was one thing the Red Half Moon was good at, it was sowing lies. According to them, we were nothing but butchers who executed everyone unable to recite the revelation word for word. That's what they wanted us to think, and they did a good job at that. A veiled person here, an archer on the rooftops there. I got nervous, because villagers are not, they bested us in numbers, and they had cattled us. Then a man seemed to charge at us, and I gave the order to draw weapons. It was just the spark they needed. No, not a fight. A massacre. The villagers had pitchforks and shepherd staffs, and we had shadow steel swords, let alone the fact that we were trained warriors. I realized that I had made a mistake a split second after it started, but it was too late by then. My men, they slaughtered them all, like pigs. At the end of the day, 300 people were dead, and only 10 of them were keepers. Have you ever been in a big battle? Even if my men would have stopped, the villagers were blinded with rage and panic. No. From the moment I gave the order, it was too late. Well, what better proof of the Lightborn's cruelty is there than a division of keepers who, out of pure wickedness, slaughtered an entire village, women and children included. If the people had already distrusted us before that distrust had turned into hatred, and nothing could have changed that, not even the Golden Queen's heralds. We set sail back to Enderal a week later. 2 years after that, the Red Half Moon destroyed itself due to infighting. Ironic, isn't it? Maybe. The Lightborn and the Grandmaster back at that time showed the compassion I wouldn't grant myself. But I learned one thing, and that is that I will never again let fears about my own life influence my decisions. What happened in Kira was the consequence of my own cowardice, and my unwillingness to give my life for a just cause. That will never happen again. What? Really? That's interesting. Provided this is true, that means that the emissaries aren't just people who fight the cleansing. They are people who fight for it too. And that also means that whoever granted us our powers and our purpose isn't an enemy of the High Ones, but a neutral party. I beg your pardon. What? And the same goes for me? That's ridiculous. They wanted to deceive you, to sow discord. I saw the threat the cleansing posed before anyone else did. And without me, we would have never come that far. Something changed inside me since I fled from my prison. I feel it. And it is the same thing that made you a part of all this. Now, enough of this.
Prophet?
Move along.
Some people just don't know their path.
Prophet, are you in there? Kirash, what? Why? What have you done? Watch your tongue, Shari. Be glad that the blood is already dry, or else you'd be nothing but a pile of bones by now. Forgive me. I just can't believe it. Anyone but Lashari? Yes, I know, Nea. But she was a good woman. We both know that we're not involved in this. So please tell me why you and Lashari wanted to meet up here? Were the two of you close? It's been a while since there was a man at Lashari's side. So why? What? Then this bastard got wind of it. Oh, Kirash, Lashari, why the secrecy? Maybe the murderer has left a clue. We have to search. What's this? Let me see. Yes! This could be our clue. No, certainly not. But come to think about it, it doesn't really help us either. There are so many dust addicts in Ark, it would take years just to count them. Oh, by the name of the sun, I will inform the Order. No, it's not. Believe me. We will find this son of a whore. And he is going to pay for what he did.
That's just how they are.
Yes, who should say that? Well, that's just how he is. Always talking rot.
Bene Shalom, Prophet. I greet you.
There, this just doesn't make any sense.
If it isn't the Prophet, what's wrong? You look troubled. I know. Shah Rim has already told me. I hardly knew her, but it's horrible. Different ideologies or not, she was a fine young mage, and her knowledge of the Pyreans was impressive. We need to find the ones who did this, and fast. But you probably already know that. Thank Malphus we just had a breakthrough with the beacon. At least as far as the sockets go, yes. In the old tablets you found in old Dothugrad, there's talk of black embers, which are supposed to be some kind of energy supply for the machine. This is what we've been asking ourselves over the past few weeks. And then it fell like pelt from our eyes. The Pyreans were talking about the Black Pearls. Old jewels, sometimes known as Blackstones. They appeared for the first time in the Golden Era, and every self-important noble literally fought to get one in his possession. Apparently they originated from Stormwind, the old city in the heart of Arctwind. They changed owners for decades, sometimes by violence, sometimes by gold. The whole thing only stopped when the owners took note of an undesirable side effect, if you like. No, at least not with any known magic. And that's what's so strange about it. Nevertheless, all of their owners eventually shared the same fate. Countess Catua from Nerim, for example, whose castle burnt down to its foundations. According to a survivor of this tragedy, she was to blame for that. He claimed that he saw her the night it happened, laughing hysterically and dancing in the dining room and summoning waves of fire all around her. She was not previously known to have any magical talent in her. Correct. Plus, all of them eventually showed similar symptoms of delusion, like those possessed by the Red Madness do. A peculiar coincidence, if you ask me. Not quite.
Those who owned a pearl tried to get rid of it, or lock it up somewhere safe, and eventually they fell into oblivion. Tell him your theory, Archmagister.
Yes, of course. We believe that the stones carry energy, pure, uncontrolled magic, and that the High Ones use them for their own purposes. Correct. The pearl's magic make their owners powerful, but the High Ones befoul them, so to speak. Like a poisoned potion. I know it sounds odd, but the parallels are too striking to ignore. The red shimmer in the victim's eyes, the slow descent into madness, and ultimately this irrational, destructive act of violence. That's what we thought too, but it seems we were wrong. Maybe the High Ones never leave our planes at all, even after the cleansing. Maybe they are even part of this world, just like the tides or the elements. And the death of the gods is only what really sets them rolling, so to speak. That's a question I've been asking myself since we first learned of the cycle. Who knows? Maybe they like for us to suffer. Or maybe they see us as we see ants, whose lives simply mean nothing. Or maybe the very concept of intentions is meaningless to them. That's what we think, yes. Nothing else in this world possesses that much raw power.
Which is why you will find them for us. No, because we know what we are dealing with, unlike those who fell victim to the stones. Imagine them as a powerful, magical sword. A fool won't know how to wield it and will eventually cut himself with it. A seasoned warrior, however, can use its power for his purposes. Which doesn't mean, however, that we will be careless with them. What we need is their energy. And once we have transferred that to the beacon, their shells will be useless to the High Ones.
Correct.
That's right. But we don't need all of them. The beacon has 3 sockets, and that is how many of the stones we will acquire. Archmagister.
I studied the history of the pearls as a young arcanist, and I think that my notes might give you some hints as to where you should start looking. Give me until tomorrow. By then I will have prepared the relevant excerpts.
Remind me not to burst into tears.
Just come to me whenever you have questions.
And hurry. I take it you have already noticed this, but Nerimi's troops are roaming our land and building outposts, and the Red Madness is also getting worse as we speak. Now go, Prophet. The sooner we find these stones, the better.
Yes.